Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing another starting guide for Orion and the Wood Elves. Um, so if you find this content helpful, please remember to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that, and we'll take a look at them today. So the Wood Elves are definitely different from other factions in that their victory conditions and their campaign mechanics revolve more around healing the great forests spread around the world than global domination. You're really only interested in the settlements right around each of the great forests, and every time you raise or occupy one of the settlements around the Great Forest, it will contribute to the forest health each turn. So they're definitely not your standard faction that you would play. So we'll get into their mechanics a little more as we get into the video. Alright, here we go. So you'll start off with Orion over here getting ready to fight your first battle. Now, we were talking about the forest health already, so let's just go on into that. Here you can see the forest health of Orion, which is the forest that you start next to. This Oak of Ages needs to be upgraded, but you can see the forest health. You get different bonuses for upgrading the tier of the forest health as you go along. And you can click on the deep roots here and see some of the other forests spread around the world. There are quite a few. So even though you start here in Warhammer, that does not mean you have to stay here. I mean, you can jump around anywhere in the world you want to. And you should also pay attention to the different bonuses that each forest gives you. So Warren, upkeep minus 20% for all units for all armies, growth plus 50 in all provinces, blah blah blah. Diplomatic relations plus 20 with Bretonia. Once you have this one healed up though, I think it's around turn 15, this World Roots mechanic becomes available and you can jump to a different forest. So, say you won't go to the Forest of Gloom, this one will have diplomatic relations with dwarves, campaign movement range plus 20%, and global recruitment capacity. So this will, each one of these will be different. You can take a look through them when you're trying to decide where you want to jump to. These buffs may well prove to be a deciding factor on you on where you want to go. Like maybe one of these buffs will really stand out to you and that's the one you'll want. But I mean that's kind of up to you where you want to play in your campaign. The other thing, let's take a look at Orion's campaign mechanics. So he has the Wild Hunt event, which pertains to these offices. The Wild Elves have, or the Wood Elves have offices pretty much the same way that the Empire does, and what the Wild Hunt means is that if you put a lord in this spot while the Wild Hunt is active, these bonuses are doubled. So if I put someone in the Talon of Cairnus Uh, while the Wild Hunt is active, the missile strength would be plus 50%. Enemy leadership would be minus 12. And so on and so forth throughout all of these offices. His campaign mechanics. So, upkeep cost minus 8% for Orion's army for each active war, and minus 4% for all other armies. So right off the bat here, we can look at diplomacy. Wait, hold on. Before we do that, look at Orion's army. His upkeep is 1748. So if you go to your diplomacy, here we go, here's a Beastman tribe. We'll declare war. All of a sudden, his upkeep is 1597. And there's several of these starting factions that you can afford to declare war against. Grak Norn, they're never going to be a threat against you, and you will want to go fight them eventually, so we'll go ahead and declare war on them. We can look at Red Cloud. They get wiped out extremely early, so while they're there though, they can provide us with some upkeep reduction. Broken Nose, also really safe to declare war against, and that's one thing you'll want to increase your vision over the map just so you have more factions to declare war against. So if we take a look at Orion now, he's down to 1140 upkeep per turn. So that's really nice. That's a really nice mechanic, although you are going to have to work on it to keep that keep as many wars active as possible, because some of these factions will get wiped out, and you don't necessarily want to be at war with anybody, with everybody. Clan Angren, Belgar, when he gets up here, maybe you don't want to fight him. Maybe you want to, you know, have a trade agreement with him and work on that. You don't have to declare war against everybody, but I generally find that, you know, factions that I'm not going to run into while I'm clearing the area around the forest here, might as well be at war with them to reduce that upkeep. His last campaign mechanic is campaign movement range plus 50% in World Route stance. The Wood Elves have access to the World Routes, which is basically the same thing as the Dwarves and the Greenskins using the Underway. I'm sure you're familiar with the mechanic by now. So that's a really good bonus he's got there as well. Now, when we're talking about the forest health, you may not know exactly what that means, but if you look here at Castle Carcassonne, this circle here, this one has kind of a white background to it. So what that means is this particular settlement is neutral. It's not counting against the forest health, but it's also not helping. So you look here at Quinnell's, the background on this is red. That's because this is one of the settlements is counting against the forest health, and once you take over this place, this will turn to green, meaning it's going to count positive towards your forest health, and it'll look like this. Crack Asgraz is the only one that starts out green here around Aethelorn. So what you're really wanting to do, you're wanting to clear or occupy all of these that have the red border on them. And there are a few, so Grimhold, Crack Norn. I think Durthu usually clears Crack Norn early on. But this place and Paravon, yeah, you usually have to clear that yourself. The last thing about his campaign that I really want to talk about and touch on is Orion himself. He is fairly confusing when you look at him. He is a hybrid unit, which means that he has a ranged attack. You can see him holding his spear, his javelins here. This is actually his ranged attack, and when you first go into battle with him, your first few turns, it's not going to seem that impressive. It doesn't do just a ton of damage, and that may lead you to believe you want to make Orion more into a melee fighter right off the bat, and you don't want to fall into that. Yeah, he is just nutty. So his battle effects, he gets weapon strength plus 20% for cavalry units, and a charge bonus plus 8 for cavalry units. And you will notice his starting army, he has 3 cavalry units in his army, which might lead you to believe that you want to focus more on cavalry units with him. And that's absolutely not true. You can if you want. I'm just gonna give you my advice on it. I usually won't tell people where to spend their skills with lords, but Orion is going to be an exception. So if you really look farther into his skill tree here, you'll notice probably the best way to go about this is to rush down this Hawk's Talon line. And for some reason, I still haven't figured this out, but if you hover over piercing shots, this will give you 21 missile strength. If you hover over Fleet Finger, reload time reduction plus 7%, but for some reason over on the left, it says it's giving you 23 missile strength. I'm not sure why that is. But back to why we're going to rush down the Hawk's Talon line. This is not important. This is going to buff his ranged attacks in different ways. That's fine, but you're going to have to spend 4 points in between these 4, however you want to spend them, I don't care. But what you're wanting is this Prey of Anathrema. No idea if I'm pronouncing that right. I really don't care if I am. So this is going to be 16 seconds you can put on an enemy unit, and they will not be able to move. And it also lowers their missile resistance by 20%. So there's your first hint. You get an ability that is going to make an enemy unit unable to move and take more damage from your ranged troops. Then once you get level 12, you're going to get some of these buffs, yes, and they're pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. But this is the one you're looking for. Cooldown minus 50% to Hawk's Talon, Prey of Anathrema, and Hounds of Orion. So that's going to lower the cooldown of this ability from 90 seconds down to 45. Then if you look along his top line up here, Reign of Spines at level 10, rank 10. reload time reduction plus 8% for his entire army. Speed plus 15% for elven units for his army. And then you have to pick one of these three. The Sight Beyond Sight is going to give you 15% base missile damage for all allies within 35 meters. So that's going to buff your ranged troops even more. Also, I don't know about any of you, but trying to micro 3 cavalry units in a battle is just nutty. I don't enjoy it. He has 3 cavalry units, so I usually just I may put them in 2 separate groups and try to micro them that way, but 3 is kind of pushing my limits there. So I usually don't do that. As buffing the ranged troops, you can also get another 8% missile strength and 8% reload time reduction down here in Bolts of the Forest. As well as, and the reason I say you want to make him a ranged lord is because the Wood Elves have some of the best ranged units in the game. He only starts with 1 ranged unit, but it's a Deepwood Scout. This unit has 180 range. Just to put that into perspective, the crossbowmen from the Empire, they get 160 range, I believe. So already this is looking better. Then you throw in the fact that this unit can fire while moving. And the ranged troops for the Wood Elves are just insanely good. Then you have the Waystalker hero that you start with, and that I've moved into Orion's army here. And first time you level, you're going to be able to get the Eye of Kurnus. Base missile damage plus 10%. That will be upgraded at rank 6 to 15% base missile damage. So you're going to be able to get this on your Lord and on your hero right off the bat to buff your ranged troops. And then throwing that together with the Prey of Anathrema, which is going to lower missile resistance and make it to... If you put this on the enemy Lord and have 5 or 6 ranged units focus the enemy Lord, as well as Orion and your Waystalker with their ranged attacks shooting at the enemy Lord, this is probably going to knock them out of the fight just immediately. Before 16 seconds is up, you may well have killed the enemy Lord right there. So that's my opinion on how you should build Orion. You can take that advice or not, that is completely up to you. Let's see, was there anything else I need to talk about? So, as far as his starting, the way he starts out here, you will take Orion, you will fight this battle against this army here. Then you will continue on and take this town. Whether you raise it or occupy it, it doesn't matter. I usually occupy it because you can build a building there that will increase growth in adjacent provinces. So that will increase your growth in King's Glade. This is really only the only settlement you care about upgrading, or can upgrade. I don't think you can upgrade outposts for the Wood Elves. But regardless, this is really the only one you have to worry about upgrading. The Oak of Ages as well, you're trying to get the Oak of Ages to level 5. I mean, this is you end up getting some insane bonuses from upgrading this tree. And try to upgrade your buildings here. So on your first turn, you're going to take this town. On your second turn, you are going to utilize your World Root stance, and you will be able to move all the way back to right here, right next to King's Glade. Now you're not going to be able to recruit on your second turn, but after at the start of turn 2, you will have the notification for your forest invasion, which will be right out here on this side of his land. So jumping back to here on your second turn, that's really all you can do. On your third turn, you will make sure you go back to no stance on Orion's army and move him out here to the edge of your land to where you can still recruit, and you'll be able to recruit 2 units. That's your entire third turn. Your fourth turn, you have to move into the circle for the forest invasion to fight that battle, so you will get the ambush on the army there. So that's pretty well the your first 4 turns. Oh, I can tell you this. My first turn, I upgrade this building. I upgrade this building. Now you're out of money. After you fight these 2 battles here, you will have enough money to upgrade 1 more building. I personally usually pick the grapevines first because 600 income per turn is, really good. You could go for the growth with 300 income. I mean, that's just up to you. But you'll be able to build 1 more building here on your first turn. The other thing I will tell you is you'll notice if you look at your building here, you have this military building. It allows you to recruit Eternal Guard. It doesn't say anything about the Glade Watchers, but well, I can't show you, but you will be able to recruit Glade Guard. Glade Guard is the unit, the tier 1 ranged troops for the Wood Elves. You will be able to recruit them even though there's not a building that says it allows recruitment of Glade Guard. But you will be able to recruit Glade Guard as soon as you jump back here. That's usually the way I go. On turn 3, the 2 units I get to recruit, I'm going to recruit Glade Guard. And that's really all I have for you to help you get started with Orion here. He's definitely a strange lord. Well,
Ready to serve.
all in all, he's nuttier than squirrel turds, but either way, that's all I've got for you. I hope this helps you. If it does, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and I'll see you next time.